assistant to the host.
Assistant host, thank you very much.
And well, we'll agree to disagree. But guess who we got with us? We've got a new member of the team. Oh my gosh, look at the face. Erica is in the house. Erica, a member of the staff for, just let me guess, because I don't actually remember when you got here. I'm going to say 18 months.
No.
How long?
10.
10 months?
Sorry, I think 8, maybe.
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
8 months already?
Did I say
April.
18?
End of April.
Wait, so it hasn't even been a year, and I was
No.
like 18 months, because you
Yeah.
just feel like such a natural and
Thanks. That's so
integrated part of the staff here.
Thank
It
you.
was such
I
an
do feel
easy.
integrated.
Do you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
You actually visit us pretty frequently, too.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah,
I love coming to San Diego,
I was going to say.
and I love being in office. It's so nice.
yeah, it is nice here.
Yeah.
Like you got to go to mass with us today.
Yes.
I noticed you didn't really know the words though. Do you ever go to mass,
Oh,
or is
yeah.
this?
Yeah,
just
that's
do it when
something I like to keep that between me and my
Oh,
confessor.
welcome.
But,
Welcome to the roast of Erica Talley.
So
No,
what do you do here? Oh, I'm sorry.
I did feel caught because the last Marian prayer, I only know the very beginning, like the first sentence, pour forth, we beseech thee, O Lord, thy grace into our hearts. And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
rest, I just stand there.
Oh, the Angelus. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's okay.
Not
Go on.
every daily mass I've been to says that at the end.
No,
so.
no. We just do it because when the mass ends at noon, because we pray the angels here at noon. So
Oh, that makes sense.
So it usually 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. was the traditional time. So we just do it at noon. Because ain't nobody here at 6 except Carrie. I don't know. He might
True.
do it himself.
At 6 a.m.?
6
That's true.
p.m.
yeah.
Maybe Todd's
Booted.
still here at 6 p.m. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Are you going to be charming and engaging during this episode? Or
I'll do my best.
would you
I have my
please?
bells on.
Oh, you do? All right.
I mean, when you break out into singing, I was like, all right, she's being engaging. It's fine.
Yeah.
Are you?
Am I going to be charming and engaging? That has not happened yet, so we'll see. I don't know.
I don't know if he's
Always
capable
I was
of
like,
it.
why
charming
would I
and
start today?
engaging.
Why would this be my first day on that job? Okay, so I want to start with the obvious story to discuss. As a matter of fact, as soon as this happens, everybody was like, nah, got to talk about that on Super Show.
Yep.
Can you guess what it is, Darren? Or do you already know? Can you guess?
He doesn't know. He
Oh,
just works
you
at
know what? He's
Kroger.
got 6 kids, and the little baby came in to mass.
yeah.
The little one, whose name is
Mia.
Mia.
Mia. That's what I was going to say, Mia.
No, not your name. Her name. Mia means mine in Spanish. Anyways.
Because Darren's a big fan of those movies about ABBA, those ABBA movies set in Greece, the Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he loves those movies. Also, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that
He
one's kind of Mamma Mia-esque.
yeah, right.
minus
so that's
the
so he
musical
named
part.
the kid.
Oh, they're
Mia.
musicals?
No, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is not a musical.
What's the musical?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia's
yeah.
a musical.
Here we go again.
My.
What? I don't.
You know, never mind.
Yeah, he doesn't
He's
get it.
just us girls. Relax.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I'm okay not being on that train. You're good.
All right. So did you guess it, Darren? Did you guess what story? As soon as it happened?
Something about Minnesota. Like
The Vikings.
All the news
We're
is
talking
either
about the
there's
Vikings
only
today.
3. No, maybe there's 4 places on Earth right now: Iran, Venezuela, Greenland, Minnesota. Those are the 4 places on Earth. There are no other places, and this one is in Minnesota. I'll read from the. You two interrupt me whenever you like if you have any comments you would like to make, but I'll read from the CNN report.
All right. I'm biased news. I love it.
Dozens of people rushed. It
Is that the dishonest media? Okay.
Dozens of people rushed into City's Church in St. Paul Sunday morning, interrupting the church service and leading to tense confrontations. Videos posted by activists and content creators showed. The St. Paul Police Department said it responded after receiving multiple calls reporting up to 40 protesters in the church. "ICE out," protesters shouted as the lead pastor and congregants confronted them. I saw the videos. I think confronted is too strong a word there.
Was it just
I think
disrupted?
they just said, please leave. Like, I don't know if that's a confrontation. I think you're allowed to just, I think that they're depicting this as if the 2 sides were equally aggressive. Watch the videos. That is not the case. The demonstrators said they were there to protest David Easterwood, who is listed as pastor at the church and appears to be the same David Easterwood who is a top ICE official in the Twin Cities. How you feeling about this? Going into church? It was that I think it's a Baptist church. I think Cities Church is a Baptist church, which
I don't like the trend that this could open up.
Really?
I think it's idiotic.
Do you really?
No.
But what if that's just your privilege? Because that's what the people were saying. It's just your privilege.
It's not a privilege to storm a church during a service.
No, to feel like you should be safe in church is just privilege.
Oh, that's what they said?
Yeah, right. And then
Okay.
the responses are interesting because it's striking to me how many people. First of all, in the comment section on Reddit, are you supposed to read the comment section on Reddit?
I just
Because
You
stay
can,
off of
but
Reddit.
it will shorten your lifespan.
I found myself depressed afterwards.
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
But there's a lot of people that don't like Christianity or Christians and are delighted to see our hypocrisy exposed. These hypocrites finally getting a taste of their own medicine. I'm not exactly sure what that means, getting a taste of our own medicine, but I guess we're always bossing everybody else around, and so. They came in and bossed us around. And I say us, I mean, we're not Baptists, but we are fellow Christians. We're believers in Jesus. And I probably know all the songs that they were singing that day. So, I mean, we are brothers and sisters. So, but I don't want to take it away. This is Baptist. This is not Catholics. And I don't want to what do you call it when you take somebody else's victimhood and make it your own victimhood? Like, ooh, I'm a victim too.
Oppression Olympics.
I like that. Yeah, I don't want to do the Oppression Olympics. I mean, these were Baptist people who were harassed in their church, I would say. I would say harassed would be the word.
Yes.
I don't think assaulted. I don't think anybody was pushed or shoved or anything like that, although there were children there who were clearly terrorized.
Yeah.
And
Anytime someone comes in and is not a part of the liturgy and is making some sort of obstruction, it is scary, regardless of what they're doing. So.
well, this is Minnesota where
oh yeah,
people-
that's just another Tuesday.
No, but here's my point. Minnesota, within the last year, a bunch of children were shot in a church, in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
So you walk into a church
Yeah,
in
they're
a
on
church
edge.
like that, you should be ready for somebody to draw down on you because
Yes.
they don't know if you came to kill their kids. They don't know why you're there. I'm not saying anybody should draw down on anybody, but that seems to me really deeply sick that these churchgoers in Minnesota have been traumatized by shootings in churches, particularly one that killed a bunch of third graders.
Yeah.
And now you're just going to march in yelling and screaming. They don't know what you're doing there. And I guess that's just my privilege talking, though.
Can we get a non-white person to speak now, please?
That's my
wish we
cue.
had
Thank
any.
you very much. All right. That's my cue.
Off-white.
Camera on me.
I would say off-white.
That would be my son. Thank you very
Eggshell.
much.
Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
I mean, every time I think of Minnesota now, it's just absolute chaos. I'm really glad that, not sure if you saw the statement by Bishop Barron.
Read me Bishop Barron's statement because I read about it, but did you have it there?
I don't have the full
I'll
statement.
find it.
Here we go. So he
okay,
says,
go.
as a resident, okay, and now it took me to X. Give me 1 second. As a resident of Minnesota and as bishop of the Diocese of Winona and Rochester, my heart is breaking over the situation in my home state. Violence, retribution, threats, protest, deep suspicion of one another, political unrest, fear. All of it swirling around all the time. May I make a modest proposal for exiting this unbearable state of affairs? The Trump administration and ICE should limit themselves, at least for the time being, to rounding up undocumented people who have committed serious crimes. Political leaders should stop stirring up resentment against officers who are endeavoring to enforce the laws of the country. And protesters should cease interfering with the work of ICE. And everyone on all sides should stop shouting at one another and demonizing their opponents. Where we are now is untenable. There is a way out.
Good for him for saying there's a way out and that this is untenable. I don't know. That kind of brings me to
It's
to
a
what I wanted
balance.
to
It's a
talk about.
balanced statement.
Is it a balanced statement? Because I think a lot of people are going to go, he supported law enforcement and he told people to stay out of the churches like
But-
that.
but-
They're going to call him like a right-wing fanatic.
But
or
then
something.
you're going to have people who are on the other side who are saying that Trump needs to limit himself. They need to go after violent criminals. So it
right.
depends.
I see your point. Yeah.
Again, it's filtered through the lens of whatever side you agree on or whatever side you disagree with.
Yes.
It could be taken either way. So he's going to be accused of being a crazy liberal and others of a crazy conservative.
Yep.
And it's just a Catholic position. Like,
Yeah.
go after
Oh, it's level-headed.
Yeah.
But it is right. It's very well, as often the case with Bishop Barron, just a articulate expression of the Catholic position.
Yep.
He's good at that,
Yeah.
and thank God we have him. But I do think like he's talking about how we're yelling at each other and we're suspicious of one another. Do you know you have an obligation in charity to listen to the other person and put the best construction on what they said? And I don't think we teach this enough to Christians, that you have an obligation in charity to say, what's the best way I can interpret what they said? Not what's the deepest offense I can take or how can I respond to that or any of that. You start with, okay, how can I hear that in the most charitable way I can hear it?
And to represent it in the most charitable way, too.
Well, certainly
Yeah.
that. But I think the only time we need to be told that is when things get to this level. Because we go, well, what he meant was, or he said this, that. But, okay, you have to be reminded that's sinful. That is the sin of presumption. What you have is someone else's words. You have to give them the best. And you don't get to go, well, now is not the time for that. No, when you feel like now is not the time for that, that's the time you have to be reminded this is absolutely the time for that.
Yeah.
And so you have to listen to Bishop Barron's words with the most charity you can. You have to listen to those kind of left-wing cardinals that spoke the other day with the most charity that you can. You got to listen to your opponents with the most charity that you can. So let's, if we could, for a moment, listen to the protesters. And I don't have sound or audio or anything. I just mean what they came there to say, because I do think what they did was extremely rude. It is to some degree un-American because we have always had to respect each other's right to worship. And so there's something in the American spirit that's like, don't go into somebody else's church. Like, don't do that. That's like, we have this pluralism in us that is like, if something's sacred to you, I may not find it sacred. I may not like it. I might think it's stupid, but I'm not going into your Hindu worship center or your Catholic church or your mosque. That's not how we do that here. So I think it has an un-American feel to it. It has, and I think there's a lot of good things about America. I don't think being un-American is like a good thing, but other people may disagree with me. I mean, I think we have some good civic habits here, and one of our civic habits is the habit of leaving each other alone when it comes to the worship of God. Not leaving each other alone in the sense of not trying to convince one another, but in not coercing one another or pushing one another around or bullying one another.
You're free to gather in
Right.
peacefully protest. I mean, there's
Well, you have that,
Yeah.
but I think worship is even higher than like in the American. I'm not talking about in the Constitution or the laws. I'm just talking about in our habits, our
Yes.
American habits that made us a good society. Like worship is a little bit higher than that. Like going into a bank to protest would be lower. I might say it's wrong still, but there's just something about because we are a pluralistic people, we learned this habit of don't mess with people where they worship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you do have the right to protest.
just not in somebody's private property, like a church.
No, that's-
Well,
Yeah.
is it private property?
It is.
It is, yeah, private
Okay.
property, yeah. It's owned by the people. It's public property.
owned by the state.
Would have to be owned by a public entity. Yeah. So a church is private property, and it is trespassing to go there once you've been asked to leave. And All right, there's a lot of moving parts here, but before we get to all the moving parts, I do want to listen to the protesters for a second. Like with a charitable heart, listen to the protesters.
Can I say one thing? So
Yeah.
Lebanon Warrior on Twitch says it's never a good idea to listen to fanatics and terrorists. I would disagree with him, and I think you would too, because that's where
Well, I don't-
that's when the separation of good ideas and bad ideas come in. Is when you let them speak, show how wild they are, and let people decide and realize, hey, this is actually not a good thing.
Jesus listened to fanatics and terrorists. So I'm going to take my model as Jesus Christ. Like
How dare you?
I mean, yes, it is a good idea. I mean, there are times when you have to say this conversation is over, clearly. You know, and especially when children are present, there's times when you just go, nope. This is not, and that's why the other thing that offends me is, like, even the mafia, the rule was you don't go after anybody's children. You know, like, I've seen all the mafia movies. Like, you went into a place where children made children feel helpless and scared. That's bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's
But
so obviously a spectacle. If
Yeah.
if there is one singular person they were trying to target, which was the pastor, why did they not go to his office hours, try and contact him?
Right. Yeah. Why not? Because they wanted to be on
theatrics.
TV.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's very. I found the whole situation to be very entitled.
That's what I came away with that too. But I was trying, Erica, to like, let's give this the most charitable reading, and then we'll get to the critiques.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but you're right. There was an image of a guy yelling in a parishioner's face, and one of the people there's another place where you go to protest. It's called Whipple Street or something. I don't know. It's where. He goes, why aren't you down at Whipple Street? I don't remember the name of the place, but protesting.
I like Whipple Street.
And he's like, why aren't you blah, 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 protesting? And the point is, who entitled you to interrogate your fellow citizens? Like, that is the most entitled, what are you, fourth grade? That's not how an adult talks to another adult. And very tall person speaking to someone shorter than him. The whole thing had this idea of intimidating and accusing. I don't know. That's entitled to go around accusing other people. That's a kind of spoiled brat attitude.
Only thinking of yourself entering that space and not how am I going to affect others. But I guess that's to these protesters' entire point, is that they view the churchgoers too as enemies.
They do.
Air
They
quote,
certainly do.
enemies.
Yeah.
So everything is free ground, essentially.
Well, their thing, they were Black Lives Matter people, and one of the things that they said, and I'll read some of the quotes, is that, well, you know, other people, like minorities, don't have the right to be comfortable in their neighborhoods. Why should you have the right to be comfortable?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because out of all places, especially if you're looking at churches in general, Catholic churches,
Yeah.
the one place where you find a lot of minorities where there's peace,
Yes, it's very
churches.
diverse.
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, the parish I grew up in, you have the feast for Our Lady of Guadalupe, and then you have the festas for Our Lady of Fatima, because there's a bunch of Portuguese people there. It's
Right.
like that is the place for that.
Well, that's certainly the case, and I think that, like, the first multinational, multicultural organization in the history of the world that is expressly multinational and multicultural is the Catholic Church, and so I think they don't like that. I think they're like, yeah, that diversity thing that you guys are doing, literally the apostles were doing that 2,000 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think
Get with the
you're late on
times.
this one.
Yeah.
All that.
times.
Let me read you a couple of quotes then.
Charitably listening.
Here, let me throw this out because I want to go back to the charitable listening thing.
Okay.
What do you make of this critique?
I struggle with that.
Jesus went into a church and overturned the tables.
Mm.
Jesus went into a worship space and threw people out.
Yeah, but the
Key is context.
Okay, well, yeah. Context is key.
Well, first of all, you're not Jesus.
The
I think.
key is
No. Well, but think about what he was doing. Jesus was going in there to reorder the intended purpose of the space and kicking out the people who were in there doing things they weren't supposed to, like money changers inside
Or
of the outer court.
protesters.
Yeah, he like started like whipping them, flipping the table. So he was actually doing the reverse of what these people are doing. It's like
He
Jesus
didn't whip any people. He whipped animals. That's it's pretty. He doesn't hit any human beings.
He started whipping something.
Yeah, he made a
He
a
did
whip for-
create a whip, yes.
Created a whip.
But it's not like he was whipping humans.
No, he flipped tables and he was.
Yeah. whipping the animals.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
get them out of there.
To get them out of there. Fair. But he was trying to reorder things to worship. That was because of the intended purpose of the building. Anger is not a sinful thing. Righteous anger is a good thing. And I think that in this situation, our reaction to what happened is righteous anger. I mean, all these Christians watching, journalists going in there and interviewing a pastor in the middle of his sermon is not a good thing. And I think it's righteous to be angry at this point. It's like, what are you doing?
I agree, but Jesus did go into the temple. I think people have to understand, he went into the court of the Gentiles. He did not go into the holy of holies of the temple. He did not go into the heart of the temple.
But the court of the
Gentiles, the outer courts, where this is where people who are not Jewish have an opportunity to come and approach God. Because in the Roman Empire, there's literally, I love that word, literally millions of people who are friends of God who are not Jewish. They love the Jewish God, but they're not Jewish. So you have the court of the Gentiles where they can come. And so Jesus is saying, you can't get between these people and God. That's not. So in some ways, I think the pastor is closer to Jesus here than the protesters, because he's saying to the protesters, don't come in here and get between these people and God. You can't do that. But I do think if you were gonna, I think I can see their point that if you want to have an absolute, you can't go into a church and do this. Well, it's not an absolute because Jesus did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I blanked there for a second. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You got a lot of stuff that
I'm following the chat too. You got to keep that in mind.
Well, you made a bet, and now you owe me $40. So
what was the bet?
When did that happen?
You were blanked out. We made a bet, and then you lost.
No,
then you owe $40 to
that.
me, and I don't know how
We
much
tied.
that you owe Erica.
We tied.
Yeah, we tied. So it's $40 each. All right, but
Can I just
go ahead?
No. You know what? Never mind. This is going to be off topic. I don't want to disrupt the flow of conversation.
Okay, so the second thing that we might listen to is that these people are saying this is such a grave issue that we have to do these grave things. And I think that they really believe that. I think that gives a certain moral permission. Like if I thought
Define moral permission. Like what do you mean by that?
Look, if I thought Nazis were rounding up Jews again, I'd give myself a tremendous amount of moral permission to attack those Nazis. Right?
But is it a valid moral permission though? Is it valid?
Well, Jesus will tell us that when we see him. But I think that
I think
you mean in this case.
See,
I think to me this reminds me of those climate activists that painted Stonehenge. I feel like. Yeah.
Or the Campbell's soup. Do you remember that?
No. What happened with the Campbell's soup?
These
they put Campbell's soup on
environmental
artworks.
activists who threw Campbell's soup. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that they're saying, look, our issue is so important. We have to grab your attention and do this. There's an element of narcissism in that, but you can't just say, okay, that's absolutely right, because I can see a situation where something is so horrible that's happening that you have to almost by any means necessary. Now,
you have to be careful with that language.
Yeah, a Christian can never say by any means necessary, but there's almost that your moral permission goes up the higher the higher the moral violation is that you're confronting.
I think that they are so their target is completely off. And I think
that's what
that
reminds me of the
that
Stonehenge thing.
They have. I think that they believe that they have good intentions in moving forward with this activism and trying to help others, but the target is just so off. They truly believe that like this pastor could be to blame or is part of the problem with you know whatever grave issue occurred in Minnesota with I know there was a shooting and myriad of other things, but. Could he actually do anything on your behalf? Could he actually atone for the evil that is occurring in this world, whether you're on the left or the right? No, probably not.
No, he's functioning as a symbol, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that what progress are you going to make in doing that?
Right.
It's-
It does seem to, but I mean, the progress, it almost seems like the performance is the progress they're looking for.
Yes.
Because they want to draw
Yes.
attention.
I think that, the anger, they're just not thinking rationally. I think that their
there's-
anger has totally taken over.
Right.
Even though they believe they have good intentions and they're not able to activate their prefrontal cortex.
Yeah. And it's like Joe Rogan the other day saying, remember that thing where I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like, Joe Rogan's like, what are we going to be, the Gestapo now or something? And I felt like, well, no. The answer is no, Joe. Like, if you really want to think that through, the answer is no. So,
Yeah.
like, you can ask the question in a dramatic way, but if you actually ask the question, not hyperbolically, but actually ask it, the answer is no. So now what do you want to do?
Yeah.
The ICE is not the Gestapo. It's not. It's just not. You're wrong to make that moral equation. So now,
So these people that stormed his church were wrong morally.
well, now see, I definitely think they're wrong morally, and
Okay.
I have a whole. I mean,
Okay.
starting
That's fair.
with it's rude, and rudeness is immoral. Like,
Totally inconsiderate.
rudeness is immoral because it violates the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. So the golden rule is not a rule for Christians. Love one another as I have loved you. That he's speaking to us Christians.
Yeah.
When he said, now I'm not saying he's not inviting everybody to accept that commandment, but particularly that's for us. That's the law of charity. When he says, do unto others as you would have done unto you, he's not talking about the law of charity. He's telling us the law. That's the basic, fundamental, natural law that everybody has to follow.
Yeah.
And this is not how you would want to be treated. You could pretend it. Well, I would if I was in, if I was morally so dead as these people are, I would want some. No, you wouldn't want to be treated this way. Like, think of a place that you go that's important to you. You wouldn't want to be interrupted there like this, whether it's the movies or your concert that you go to or whatever thing you do. So I think it's morally wrong on a very, very basic level.
Yeah.
Because this is not how you treat
Because
other
it
people.
almost, initially I thought you said that they're giving themselves moral permission as though you were justifying the permission to go into places like this. So I must have misunderstood you in the beginning.
Oh, maybe. I don't think I've been entirely clear because I'm trying to go around a couple
Okay.
things. So I do. I was probably unclear about that. But I think that they give themselves this moral permission because they actually do that Joe Rogan thing, which if Joe Rogan would just ask the question as an actual question, not as a rhetorical question, he would see that the answer is no, we're not becoming the Gestapo.
Right.
Just like when somebody says to Joe Rogan, is MMA, isn't that just bringing back the gladiators? Well, if I want to ask that as a rhetorical question, that's one thing. But I think Joe Rogan could see if I ask it as an actual question that I want an answer to, the answer is no. Because there's nobody out there with swords trying to kill each other. Yeah. Okay, so things may look the same. It doesn't mean they are the same. So I think these people though are impressionable. I think somewhat foolish, and they do believe that ICE equals Gestapo. I think that they believe it.
I don't know. I don't think that a lot of these protesters have actually thought through the arguments. They're falling into the rage bait. Like I
Yes.
really do think so.
Entirely. They're not thinking things through, which is, if anger is driving you,
Yep.
anger
Yeah.
can drive you
Oh yeah,
to do a lot of crazy things.
yeah.
Blocks
It's
out
called my
your phone.
30s.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, got over it in
For
my
me,
40s.
it was
but yeah.
23, but yeah.
You were angry at 23? What were
yeah.
you mad about?
Oh, just
Was it Taylor Swift? Was she leading you down a bad path?
she did. She did.
did?
I'm out of it now.
All right,
But
you've left the Swiftie
She led
cult,
me
huh?
down some dark holes. I even dyed my hair black.
Did you really?
I
Did you really?
I did.
Was it like a goth kind of thing, or was
No.
it just?
No. I intended to go brunette, and it turned out
Fell
red.
asleep.
Yeah,
I had the dye in. I fell asleep.
it turned red. No, I drank way too many cocktails back then, but we're
Okay, pre-conversion.
Wait, this
All right.
show's getting better and better, Erica.
No, we
you're
need
just
to get
waving
back.
your hand at
Ladies
the
and
parts that are the
gentlemen,
best part.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all have a past, and we are all been forgiven by Jesus Christ.
yes. Anywho,
Well,
protesters.
Okay. I think that Bishop Barron offered a kind of approach that is a listening approach, which when he says the Trump administration should focus on criminal aliens, I think what he's saying is trying to say, all right, well, what if we got this far? Could you draw back your, he's trying to be Irenic, I think. He's trying to, and bless him. Jesus blesses the peacemakers and bless him for that. But, I probably shouldn't say what I'm about to say.
Then you probably shouldn't say it.
No. And I thought I was going to get kicked
if
out.
if you want ICE to focus on criminal aliens, then the state should be allowing them to come into jails and arrest people rather than setting those people back out on the
So
street.
can I tell you something? They did offer something called self-deporting, where
Who did?
The Trump administration. So I know this because I know people in this world. So they offered self-deportation, and they actually offered to give them some money to self-deport, saying like, you're here criminally, you're not supposed to be here. So if you self-deport, you'll get $1,000
Yeah,
or
because it's
$2,000.
going to cost the government way more than that to
Exactly.
get them out. Yeah.
So it's better for you to get your stuff, gather all your stuff,
Right.
all your belongings that you have that you've made here.
Get your thumb drive.
Get your thumb drive. That's right. And collect this money.
Yeah.
And be on your merry way. And there's no problem. And I know people who will consider doing it, who said, yeah, I think I might do it because I'm not going to be chased down like a dog. I'm not going to be treated like a violent criminal. So there has been a solution to that. But the thing is, you're talking about millions of people that are here.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about the Trump administration. I'm talking about the state of Minnesota. They refuse.
I see.
Too far gone.
They refuse to turn over. Like if you go to Arkansas and you're a criminal, like you're an alien who has a warrant out, they will, and you get arrested for drunk driving. They'll hold you in the county lockup. They'll call ICE. ICE will come and get you and take you out of the country. Well, Minnesota won't do that. So that means the ICE agents have to go into the street and arrest these people. So if you really want to take the temperature down and do what Bishop Barron said, then you should just let them come into the jail and get these people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then-
you're explaining Minnesota, California, New York, like all these sanctuary cities,
Right.
where that used to happen, where they do come into the jails, they see, are there any illegals here, and then they take them, they deport them.
Yeah. But I'm
it's
kind
not
of a
the case
liberal
anymore.
on the other side of it. And I have to, maybe I shouldn't say this either, but like I've lived in Southern California so long. I know guys, if ICE called me, I could take them to the houses of people who have been in this country illegally 30 years. Really good people, like really solid people. Their children are citizens. I don't want those people to be treated the same as a guy who is a gangbanger.
No, because they're contributing to society. They're outstanding citizens, even if they're not.
And
US
some of them came here
citizens.
as teenagers. Someone I'm thinking of right now came here as a teenager, just worked and worked and worked and got married and had kids and all this. And people will go, yeah, but he broke the law. I get all that. Yeah. I'm just saying, in the real world, my own preference would be find a way to just make it right with that guy.
I have a solution to this, but not that anybody pays attention to what I say or care.
Wait, I got to talk to Erica. Let's not pay
Yeah.
attention.
Anyway,
Can we
so
just
like
not pay
earlier
attention?
today,
Yeah. All right.
Look, the people that want illegals out are clearly don't want them to be rewarded with any kind of citizenship or residency or any of that. I think the problem is when you do have people that have been here for 30 years, I think it's too much to say arrest you like a criminal and kick you out. I would say give them legal residency. The people that have been here that long and have been following the rules, apart from them illegally coming over.
But no citizenship.
Never any citizenship. They have because
I can tell you, this guy would take that deal today if you would give it to him.
They've committed a crime that is serious.
Yeah.
And because of that crime that you've committed against the country, you are now forever banned from ever becoming a citizen and voting in this country. He doesn't. He wants to just
But let me tell you something. 30 years ago, maybe it's more than 30 years ago. But when I was a kid, anyways, here's the Mexican border. You go to the Mexican border, there's just people walking across the border.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't that serious. Like, we could say it was serious, but nobody was treating it as that serious. And like, there was Border Patrol out there, and sometimes they were cracking down. We used to have the Border Patrol checkpoints, like up at the Camp
San
Pendleton,
Clemente.
San Clemente.
Well, I think
which
it's really just the cartels that's amped up so much in the
Yeah,
past
that's true.
decade or so.
And that's all evil
That's a
that's
stuff.
what it-
long conversation.
Yes,
man.
I think
don't
that's
even really get
what a
into that.
lot of it boils down to. I know a lot of, because I'm in Texas, and
That's
I know.
where all my exes live.
Oh, really?
Mine
Me
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
But I hang my hat in Tennessee. So, all right,
Must
go
be-
ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Dumb. Just dumb.
I knew those references. I knew those references. Sorry. Yes.
But truthfully, and I don't want to, this is a generalization, but there are a lot of illegal immigrants that contribute more to the U.S. society than U.S. citizens contribute.
More
to
than I do.
society.
I can tell you that right now. I know some of them are a lot more like businesses with 50 people employed and
Right.
really doing productive stuff. I've never done anything
And
like that.
the way in which illegal immigrants have aided in just agriculture, farming,
Yes?
basic needs that Americans like we need food. We need farming. So there's a lot of contribution that they have in our society, but yeah, I think it's primarily, and I'm not a politician, but I think that it's probably the issues with the drug cartels that's really exploded this entire issue
Yep.
of the safety of.
Yeah, things change. I mean, a lot of stuff changed. First of all, you're not a politician. You're never going to be one.
No, I don't wanna be
With
one.
the admissions about the drinking and the black hair, I think
Yeah.
you're done.
I have too much of a
There's
digital
nobody's-
footprint for that.
Nobody's voting for you.
Yep. Don't we all?
No black-haired women allowed in Congress.
I don't. There was a time when it was so much more relaxed at the border. That wasn't a bad time. That wasn't an evil time for America. But I just want to read you some of what these people said, though, because I want to go back to the protest in church.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if the person's name is in here. Nakima Levy Armstrong, a former president of the local NAACP chapter and one of the organizers of the protest at the church, said some parishioners were unaware of Eastwood's role as an ICE director. She told CNN she doesn't know how anyone who claims to be a Christian could condone his behavior and the dual nature of the roles he plays.
Okay. And do you have to go into his church like that? Like what?
That's right. That's what I'm saying. She's judging Christians, is what she's
Send
doing.
him an email.
Like-
I don't know. What is this?
Send him an email. So on she goes. The reality is that it's unconscionable and unacceptable for someone to claim to serve as a pastor while also being responsible for a lot of what is happening here in our community as a result of thousands of ICE agents descending upon the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities in particular. All of this is just, I mean, I'm not saying that she does not have a right to her view, but it seems to me like a lot of giving yourself permission for behavior that you should not have given yourself permission for.
Right.
All right, there was one other quote I wanted to give you, but I've lost it, so I apologize. The federal government says it's going to charge people. I don't know what it's going to charge them with. But I did want to ask you this, though. What would you do if this happens in your church? Because it might happen in your church.
Run and cry in the corner.
Would you? Run and cry in the corner? Would you take any children with you? Maybe to shelter them with you?
Yeah. No, I'd be terrified. There was an instance where a man stormed into a parish I was at, and it had nothing to do with, ICE or protests or politics, but it had to do with the Catholic Church. And I was beside myself. I had to leave.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone else stayed in there, and I was like, I can't do this.
Uh-huh.
So
Was it like yelling and screaming and stuff? Yeah.
I think I get angry in situations like that, and I think that's not a good thing because then I just want to go over there and just push the person out.
I
That's
feel the
needed.
same too. You got to deal with your anger in those situations
Yeah.
because it's probably what should happen. I think is that who is ever the celebrant should say to the people, "You need to leave. You're not authorized to be here. We're praying." you want to sit down and pray with us, you can stay. Otherwise, you have to leave. Because you have to establish that someone in authority told them to leave. Otherwise, it's not trespassing. The doors were open. It's only trespassing if someone tells them to leave. You should not let people block exits. That's certainly true. That's dangerous. I think people should attend to children and the elderly and all of that, and then be patient. It's going to end. It's going to stop. You should really refrain from any kind of response that turns into yelling matches or debates.
De-escalation.
Yeah, almost
is
just like withdrawing from all of that, because first of all, you don't have as many legal protections as you think you do. I mean, it depends on the
Right.
judge who's going to say whether they had the right to protest there or you had the right to. But the
You
thing
also
is,
And it
have
also
no
depends on
idea-
your state.
And you
Yeah.
have no idea what those people are bringing into the building,
Right.
into the property.
Yeah.
If
Right.
they're armed.
Well, you know, what I've noticed, and this is at my parish, is there's armed security now. And especially after what happened in, again, Minnesota with the Catholic church or was it the school or church that
It
was
was
yeah,
shot
the
up?
both.
Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
There's more and more armed security guards at these churches. So, you know, if something like that happens, if somebody comes into the church, you're going to get a few seconds forewarning, because you're going to hear the chatter outside. And I think if every Catholic church has the men's group out there, so like you have like the Knights of Columbus and you have whatever other men's group, I know these men will stand up and at least try to block them from getting in to protect the women and the children that are inside of the church. So I have hope for the people that are sitting in the pews, and people are not going to take it lightly if it happens.
No, I think people are not going to take it lightly, but we shouldn't get in a fighting mood about
No,
it.
it
I
could
think
easily
it's-
turn into, I mean, even those protests, it could have escalated even further. Fights could have broken out. That's certainly something that could occur. Other parishioners get involved, and then you don't even know who's on what side, who you need to be protecting. So I would agree. I feel like first step would be de-escalate the situation, and if there's no response to that, then maybe use force.
I mean, you can use force to defend life.
Yes,
That's
yes.
essential, or people from bodily harm. So you better not use force. Unless like where I go to church, there's a lot of young Marines in there, and
That's comforting.
my wife used to tell me, I love it that the Marines are. When there was a lot of shootings in church, she goes, I know they didn't come unarmed.
Yeah.
I know what they. So, and I've seen people come in, and mostly in my neighborhood, it's people who are very disturbed start like yelling and
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Usually, there's 2 or 3 Marines that just take them by the arm and walk them out.
Well, I used to go to the cathedral in Sacramento for mass, and there's always people out front. There's always people that are ready for whatever happens, because you always have people that are not mentally in the right place. Especially in Sacramento, there's always protests there, because the cathedral's right next to the Capitol, so there's always stuff happening there, and so they're always ready, which is comforting.
Yeah, I think don't do things that you'll regret, and offer it up. That's what my grandmother would say. Offer it up. People are yelling and screaming and disruptive. I think you have to protect children. You got to protect people who are helpless or would be easily confused or upset by the situation. But other than that, I think we're not. You call the police and let the police deal with it. You got to be You got to be really, really careful.
Can we go some light?
Yeah. Do you want to do your thing?
I want to do my thing.
Okay, I'll scrap my last story. All right, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a current trend online. It's the 2016 trend. So right now, people are posting all over social media a picture of them from 2016, 10 years ago. So the 3 of us have images of us from 2016. So the first one we're going to start off with, let's start mellow. Now, I couldn't find a picture of Cy from 2016 because
I forgot to do it. I apologize.
It's okay.
I made Edgar look
But
for
I
it.
found, and this is a screenshot from Cy's earliest appearances on Catholic Answers Live, and this was 9 years ago, not 10 years ago. So it's a little bit of a little cheating.
Wait, did I work here then or no?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Did he?
Because I used to come here for
Darren?
a couple of years before I worked here.
9 years. You might have been filling in for Patrick at that time.
So this
Okay.
might be 10 years ago. It would
Okay.
be 10 years ago if I was filling in for Patrick.
All right, the timestamp on YouTube said 9 years ago. But
Oh,
anyways,
okay.
So pull up Cy's photo from 9/10 years ago. That is in the old studio.
Look at how I'm dressed.
That is before we had a dress code in the
They're high
studio.
class. I
So-
can't believe Darren allowed that.
And his beefy Hanes.
Exactly.
I have to say, I just despise the placement of the microphone in that picture.
You look disgruntled.
Yeah, well, I am mostly disgruntled.
When is a person ever gruntled?
That's
is
what
my
Tim
question.
Staples' mom used to tell me. Smile.
Really?
Why you never smile? Like you look so serious. You look like you're gonna hurt somebody. And
But you're so jovial.
I'm gonna look that up. Go ahead. Go on.
I like the fact that you actually comb your hair now.
I have hair now. I mean, my hair was really short then.
It was
it's much,
buzz
much
cut
longer.
season.
It was for 30 years. It was
Yeah.
buzz cut
It was
season.
this is a better hairstyle. I think you chose the right path when it came.
Who
came to
chose
high
it?
school. You chose it. Jesus chose. Oh, your wife chose it.
Jesus chose it.
Your wife. Jesus chose it. Ultimately,
Jesus.
right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
All right, next one. We'll do mine because we have to save Erica's for last.
this is Edgar 10 years
10
ago.
years ago. So this is a selfie because I couldn't believe I was doing this. So
don't
this
see
is,
it.
I know it.
Oh,
Do you have a
better-
choker on, though?
I do not have a choker in 2016. All right, and here it is. So this is me in 2016 So
oh, look at you. We're the opposite. Like I was so
You
sloppy.
look like
Yeah.
a
So
Mormon
sharp and nice.
missionary.
thank you. Yeah, just be when I could convert it to Mormonism. So in 2016, I was actually working for the St. Paul Center for Biblical Theology. That's Scott Hahn's
Is this after you got fired from the liquor store?
Yes, that was
Okay.
that was.
Okay.
That was,
He
it was
turned his
actually,
life
that
around.
was actually 2006, not 2016. So,
Okay, so 10 years before is when you got fired from the
liquor
liquor
store
store.
was his Job moment.
Okay.
but this is so we were at Dr. Hahn was giving a talk at a parish in Pittsburgh, and I was on security duty. So I was standing in the
You were
back
security
door.
for Scott Hahn?
I was security for Scott Hahn.
What
yeah.
if Black Lives Matter had come in and started?
I don't think they existed then.
Oh, okay.
So, but I was standing back there, and I had to put the cone in the one parking spot so nobody took his spot. So as soon as he pulled up, I moved the cone, opened the door for
Nice.
him. Well, not in his car door, but the front door to the church. And yeah, but it was fun. I was like, I can't believe I get to do this for work. So that was my gig while I was a student in Steubenville. So
That's cool.
10 years ago, a little less gray hair and a little more hair
Gray
on top.
hair.
I got gray hair in my beard now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but life is so much better now, though.
Life is a lot better. Yeah. There's actual money in
Oh,
my
yeah, well,
pocket,
that's-
and I have a family.
He goes,
Yeah.
money in my pocket. He's got a wife and a kid now. He's like, I got money
Fine,
in
I
my
got a
pocket.
little, moved
Oh,
on
okay.
from 125
Edgar-
a week at the liquor store. You know.
Anyways, enough about me. And the final picture of Erica. And I asked her, submit a picture from 2016. And this is what she sent me. Bender, go right ahead.
What's this
Oh,
gonna
wait,
be?
hold on. He needs a second.
Oh,
So
oh, the fade in. Okay.
there it is. That is a picture she sent. Okay, you're going to have to give context to
Wait,
this
what?
picture.
I can't even tell what that is. Like, what's going on there?
There is a
Put it back up.
Snapchat filter. This is peak Snapchat humor. I have a filter
What's
on.
happening to your eyes, first of all? Is there?
It's-
Oh, now I can see it a little better. Oh, this is all distorted, is what it is.
It is. I don't know the name of the filter, but the caption
I think it's
is
the Jeff
"You
Anderson
ugly,
filter.
you
look
your
like him.
daddy's
Oh, no,
son."
just kidding,
A."
Jeff. Sorry. I'm sorry, Jeff.
It's a lyric from a song.
Okay.
Juju on that beat.
Ah.
They don't know this.
No,
but in
she sang the
2016,
Juju
This
on
is-
that beat song.
this is
for
after
us.
I-
I think this was in between the Nay Nay and
the whip.
Whipping in the nene. It's between the
whatever
whipping
else.
and the nene.
and
Was
it's
this after the
Juju
Dougie?
on that beat.
This is
Juju on that beat. Slide, stop. Hit the folks, don't stop.
Is it okay for her to do this, or are we
Don't
going to
stop.
get banned from YouTube
Oh, yeah.
if she does this?
Yeah,
o-
it's-
oh, it's
that's not-
okay if Erica does it.
It's just a cover.
Oh, it's okay if Erica does it. Okay.
Did you do some dances and you got banned?
No, I get in
we've-
trouble around here sometimes.
we've never done
I
dances.
sometimes get myself in trouble around here. So
Men aren't going to understand the 2016 trends for women, but I also had the little black choker. That was a huge thing. Chokers were a thing.
But
I don't know why.
wasn't the choker thing also popular in the 90s?
Yes.
In the 90s and the 2010s, and it's going to come back in
in the
2030.
1840s
I-
too, I think it was real big. It was real big during Wuthering Heights. It was very
yeah.
big.
Hey, that new movie is
Wuthering Heights coming
coming
out.
out.
Oh, the great
I lo-
romance movie.
I love the
no.
comparison, by the way.
It's,
Wait.
it's so bad. Can we actually talk about that?
About what?
Have y'all
Wuthering
even,
Heights?
don't watch the trailer. I was scandalized.
Wait, what is this?
I can't
Why?
see that. Oh, it's so awful.
It is.
Yes.
Because the book is really brilliantly written.
I can't
think
say the
it's her
P word
only
on
book.
this
Is that her
show, but
only
it
book?
is.
I
Wait,
think that might be her only
I
novel.
missed which book we're
Wuthering
talking.
Heights.
Wuthering
Maybe
Heights?
don't look that up on your work computer either.
Well, it's okay. He's the IT guy's right there who checks all the computers, so we're good.
Okay.
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering.
Wuthering.
Wuthering Heights.
About the passionate and destructive love between Catherine Earnshaw and the orphan Heathcliff.
Yeah,
On the Yorkshire moors. Moors?
Moors. Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's like this. It's the all-time romance novel, but actually quite brilliantly written.
and now it's a
Yeah, but now
it's a
they're
movie?
trying to make it into a 50 Shades of Grey
Oh gosh.
situation. And I don't actually know that for sure because
I never saw 50
only saw
Shades
the
of Grey.
trailer. I never saw that movie either.
Was it good, Edgar?
I've never watched it either. Why are you looking at me? I don't know. I like movies, not those
That was
movies.
so quick that he almost said no.
Did you watch the movies where the lady became a vampire and a dog and a vampire fought over her? What were those movies called?
Adam's Family?
No, it's like what's that called? Where the one guy was a dog and the other guy was a
Oh,
vampire.
a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Twilight.
Twilight.
Oh,
Almost
Twilight,
like
yeah.
Vampire Diaries. I never got into those.
You never got into Twilight. I don't know anything about it.
I did watch the Twilight movies, I must say. I did. And
You watched the Twilight movies?
I watched the Twilight movies. And they
Were
were
you-
pretty bad.
Were you in the
They're
hospital?
bad, yeah.
Why were you watching the
I
Twilight
don't
movies?
remember. It just,
He was working at the liquor store.
That was when you got fired from the
It
liquor
all
store?
goes back.
Hey, I can't say that. My parents still don't know that I got fired from the liquor store.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do now.
They do know. Well, it's a good thing they don't really watch the stuff that I
So
do.
it's a thing that's going around on the internet. Like, remember that time that Thomas asked a bunch of people, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Yes.
So this is like that?
This is the new trend.
So I
It
like
is.
this so much better than, remember that time everybody was dumping a bucket of ice water on people?
I did that one
hated
time.
that.
Yeah,
You actually did
ALS
that?
bucket challenge.
I didn't like that at all.
It was for a good cause.
What was it for? I don't even remember the cause.
To raise awareness for
raise awareness of-
ALS.
oh.
ALS. I still don't know what ALS
I,
is.
Wait,
almost,
how does
I
it-
almost say ASL.
That's-
That's American Sign Language. ALS, the disease.
I just don't want any more things like the ice bucket challenge. I don't like those.
Do you
kinds
remember
of
the
things.
trend that Thomas did at one of our conferences? He had everybody sign pictures of themselves when they were kids. He got Scott Hahn to do it and all of our apologists.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't. He
I
got
think
you
Scott
too.
Hahn loved it. I remember
His wife was
yeah.
her laugh.
Oh, she was cracking up.
She was cracking up. Yeah. Little Scotty boy.
Erica, what do you do here at Catholic Answers?
I'm the digital marketing specialist, being promoted to marketing manager.
No big deal.
No
NBD.
big deal. That's why I'm here.
Wait, you've been here 8 months and you're getting
8
promoted?
months. Yes.
Whoa.
But
How long have you been here?
Carrie's
Oh, sorry.
retiring.
I actually,
Sorry. I just messed
tomorrow is going to be 4 years.
Wow.
with- Wow, you and I both started in January.
I'm bringing a
Wait.
cake.
Please do. I'm not going to be here.
I just had my anniversary. Oh, you weren't here. Never mind.
I'll be here
Yeah.
next week.
Okay, me too.
All right. Well, so what do we call you now? Marketing manager?
I like to go by Erica, but that works too.
No, but
I
when we introduce you as Erica.
Yes,
is-
I am. I think technically, yes. Now I am the marketing manager.
But let me ask a
So,
question, and we don't know the answer, but the audience probably doesn't. Why are you being promoted?
Because Carrie is retiring.
No, because you're awesome. That's why.
It's because Carrie's retiring.
Well, also, I mean,
And
So-
they thought, oh, Erica's a good fit. He's also retiring. Let's just grandfather her in. No, I shouldn't say just. It is an honor. I'm very excited.
Filling Carrie's shoes is impossible. That guy,
No,
that guy
I
is a legend. around
truly,
here.
there is a
But-
zip file of documents to describe all of the jobs he does. There are 8 documents. All 8 documents have different job descriptions.
Are you going to
So-
have to get here at 4 in the morning and turn off the alarms?
No, I will not be doing that. I think I would rather
it's
stay
a
late
long
before
flight from Texas, just throwing that
It
out there.
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now that you've done this with us in studio, you will join us remotely sometimes, right?
Yes, I have agreed.
Because
to that.
you are, it was really pleasant to have you here.
Oh, thank
and,
you.
um,
This
We need
is
to get
so
her a
fun.
setup. We need to get her a good microphone and a good camera.
yeah, get her a good microphone
Thank
and a good
you.
camera. She's got a Yeti mic.
Oh, you do have
that
one?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did or you do?
I do.
Okay.
I have one. Yes, my dad graciously bought me one so I could make covers of songs on SoundCloud.
Okay. Hey,
That was in
wait, is that really true?
2016.
I think that was when I
Wait,
was
you have a
working at the liquor
2016
store.
Yeti? We might need a more up to date.
Wait a minute. So you have yours.
It's in pristine mint condition. I think.
Wait a
it'll
minute.
work just
Darren?
Are
fine.
you a SoundCloud rapper?
Her,
No,
her,
not rap.
her Yeti is from 2016. Will that work?
It'll be serviceable.
It'll be serviceable.
Serviceable.
All right. That'll do it for us. We got to get ready for the show. Second hour
Okay.
today, we've got Dr. Ray Garendi, the drama-free parenting. That's what we're going to do, drama-free parenting. The first hour, we will do responding to orthodoxy with Ben Bollinger. Is that correct?
New guest.
A new guest.
A
We're
new guest.
trying out a new fella. So I'm looking forward to getting to talk with Ben Bollinger, and a great topic because orthodoxy is doing really well on the internet. I feel like the Catholic Church is getting all these props for killing it with internet apologetics and evangelization and all that. The Orthodox are doing really well, so we got to be there in the arena.
We need to start lifting.
That's true. I'll allow you to handle that part. And that will do it for us. Eric Talley, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me,
Edgar
Cy.
Lueno, thank you very
Oh, no,
much.
thank you.
And I'm Cy Kellett. We'll see you in a few minutes.